This is Trophy, the Scoundrel's Quarter, Part 8. When we last saw our treasure hunters, they had located the road to the village of Hester's Mill, and they had even, via some artwork and sort of calligraphy or whatever, a fresco in a temple or a sort of secret shrine beneath a roadside shrine, they discovered the real history of Hester's Mill, which the sort of summarized version is that the Lord Galdrin, who was like this kind of tyrannical lord, the people of Hester's Mill could not fight back against him using just themselves or whatever they had available to them. They enlisted the help of a sorceress to summon a demon to fight Lord Galdrin. The demon did do that. They did some strange ritual sacrifices in order to give birth to monstrosities. The demon required this of them, and they continued making sacrifices even after Lord Galdrin was defeated. And eventually the whole village was consumed in this sort of like horror, right? The sorceress ran away. Lord Galdrin is actually not accounted for in the story. We don't know what happened to him. And that's sort of the secret history that you have all learned. And so the last thing we saw is after confronting this vagrant and indeed murdering him and burying his body, you all decided to head over to the farmhouse that is just north of the village in order to rest and recuperate. Taking a look at the characters, a couple of you have suffered some pretty bad situations here. Magda is at Ruin 5 presently. You did lose this one condition, though, Magda, so you're no longer a servant of Malfast. Let's see. Cassian is lost a hand. Let's not forget that. So there's that thing that Cassian is dealing with. Malkuth is at Ruin 4, and Bana is also at Ruin 4. So it is somewhat tough going at this point. You haven't gotten much treasure yet either. So I'll remind you, you all have burdens that you must meet before you can go back to Fort Durin. Are there any questions before we begin?
Nothing else dangerous is going to happen, right? We'll be okay.
Nah, you'll be okay. All right. Well, the farmhouse. Half-mile north of Hester's Mill is a lone farmhouse. It initially attracted your attention because, unlike nearly every other structure you've seen, it's still standing and in largely pristine condition. A scarecrow is hanging, sentry-like, in the cornfield that sort of abuts the farmhouse. You have a new set goal here. This is a strictly out-of-character kind of set goal for now, which is learn the scarecrow ritual. I think as you approach the house, you see on the side of it, there is a mural that's been painted. Quite a different mural from what you found in the secret shrine. This one depicts a very sunny pastoral scene, almost like a Bruegel painting, like people bringing in the harvest, right? Like very bucolic. And I think that as you get closer to the house, you can hear the mewling of newborn kittens coming from beneath it, and their mother comes out to assess you and then has a look that can only be described as proud of her newborn kittens. There is a porch that leads up to the entrance of the house, and everything is very nice. I would even say once you get off the road, you almost get this sense of like peace. Maybe settles over you a little bit. Let's paint the scene even. What around here makes you feel comforted, apart from the things I've already described?
I think Bernard just feels the warmth of the sun on his back as he's walking along, letting his hand trail through some of the crops on the way to the farmhouse door, and it's just, there's just a feeling of him kind of stretching out in the warmth of the sunlight.
The air has a particularly nice scent here versus the rest of the area where it wasn't particularly great. But it smells like wheat and grass, wind, just that nice, pleasant fall smell.
The grass has a particular luster to it that perhaps you wouldn't expect, given all the horrific stuff that happened around here regarding magic. But it's got this sort of vibrancy to it, this greenness to it that feels very, very untouched.
The long sight lines and the relative flatness means they'd see anything approaching well ahead of it.
Well, Malkuth, what do you do?
Well, I actually had a quick question about that cat. What color was it?
Well, I hadn't given it much thought, to be honest, but I think what color would be interesting for you as a player?
Well, there was that omen of the black cat that I think is still hanging on to him.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that the cat is probably black as well.
I think I like that. Yeah. So I would then ask you, how does that make you feel?
I think seeing all of the things that he's seen with Magda and the others and Ebert, I think that he's disarmed for just a moment, feeling the wind and seeing the grass and seeing the sightline. But then when he sees this very beautiful and not threatening at all looking black cat, I think he's just kind of put back on guard and reminded that he's here for something else and that everything here could possibly hurt him.
If I could add something there as well, I think we see that one of the cat has one eye, because that was also an omen that Bernard had stumbled across before, which kind of reminds him that there is still a task to be done, despite all this peace that we find ourselves unexpectedly in.
Cassian, what do you do?
I think, just going to kind of nod at the cat in greeting before mounting the steps to the front porch and knocking. Yeah, knock.
On the front porch, there is a rocking chair, actually rocking back and forth, but not from a ghost, but because there is a warm breeze. There is the tinkling of reed wind chimes that can be heard. There's also a jack-o'-lantern, perfectly preserved in wax, sitting on the ground on the porch by the front door. When you knock, there's no answer.
Try the door.
It is locked.
They'll turn around to the others, and this might be a good place to rest. Seems safe. But I'll let one of you go in first.
Allow me. I will take a look. And I'm sure I can find a way to get that door open.
Yeah, you have like lockpicking skills, correct?
I did have some lock picks in my equipment, but I think I broke them. But I do have a spare slot, so
if you want to use the slot, I'll let you just get into the house, no problem.
Yeah. I would have replenished those when we were back in Fort Duran.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so you get inside the house, and the farmhouse has 4 rooms in total. There is a kitchen and family room downstairs. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs. Everything at a glance appears to be dusty and unused, but comfortable. The furniture is mostly intact. You see there's like little it's a house that actually has like decor, like things hanging on the walls and stuff, which is unusual, not only just in the setting, but also just unusual in this place, which is supposed to be so abandoned, right? This house doesn't seem like it's been used in a while, but it doesn't seem decayed and old either. If you spend the rest of the day here and the night, you do get to lower your ruin by 1 because of the overall pleasantness of the surroundings. Magda, what are you doing right now?
I'm feeling a little unsettled after everything that happened. The cat actually brought me a little bit of, well, it helped me feel a little bit better because of the omen that Magda believes in, that the cat that we saw previously means that a witch has taken an interest in our adventures. I think she kind of thinks, oh, well, it's not my fault. All this weird stuff just happened. Not necessarily. It's because there's a witch involved, and that just makes things messy. So I think Magda's kind of taking that as a something that comforts her a little bit. And yeah, I think she's just gonna settle down and get some rest after all of that.
What's someone else doing, Malkuth?
I'm gonna go on the roof. Does anyone want anything while I'm up there?
What are you expecting to find?
It's not really defined. I just gotta put the kid to bed, and he kind of presents the egg and rubs the top of it. It likes the outdoors.
I think Bernard shares a look with Cassian at that point. Okay, I'm not going to get involved.
No, thank you.
All right, be back. And yeah, he's gonna head up to the roof and try to find I imagine there's maybe like a small chimney that he can kind of like stuff it in, so it's at least enough on the top to where the stars can kind of.
Oh, I see. Yeah, make a little nest for it, so to
Exactly,
speak,
yeah.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you getting to the roof? Are you gonna like climb up through an upstairs window up
Yeah.
to the roof? Okay.
Yeah. And actually, just because as Binah brought it up, I would like to see if there's anything on top. I don't know if there's a hunt roll I could do, but
Go for it. Yeah, see how it goes.
Yeah.
I put a die roller, assuming it's working in the thing.
yeah. Let's see.
I think Daniel said it's all fixed now. So
Yeah, it looks like it's working. Yeah, I don't think I have anything for this. No.
let's see. Oh, 1. That is not great. Here's how this goes. Malkuth, you are, well, first of all, you lose all your tokens. Did you have any before? It looks like you had 2.
Yeah, I had 2. Yeah.
Okay, so you have 0 now.
Yes.
You go to find the stairs, and you look out the window. You see this field of, I can't remember if it's corn or wheat. It's corn. This field of corn. And you see the scarecrow hanging on its pole, just as it was outside. You go upstairs, and there's a window there as well. And you look outside, and you see tall stalks of corn and a scarecrow hanging on its pole. You climb out the window, and you get up to the roof, and you look into the field again. You see tall stalks of corn and no scarecrow hanging on the pole. Meanwhile, Cassian and Binah down in the house, what are you doing?
I think a bit of investigating. The state this was left in. It kind of seems suspiciously well tended. So I think I'm looking around for any signs that people have been here recently, or any, if people have been passing through and using this place as a stopover or something, they may have left something behind, or just casually checking out the.
Make a hunt roll.
Let's see. I have I don't have a lot in the way of skills to justify that. So I'll risk the single die.
We know how that goes.
Ah, but I got a 6.
Hey, there you go. Take a token. Tell you what, one thing that you'll notice in the living room area, underneath all the furniture, there is a rug. And what do we know about rugs, Bana?
We know that there are usually trapdoors underneath them.
There are usually trapdoors underneath rugs. That's right. Cassian, what are you doing right now?
You mentioned decorations. I'm going to be looking through those, see if I can get any kind of read on who lived here, maybe what they worshipped or were up to.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm into that. Go ahead and make a hunt roll.
I don't think anything will help there, but a 4.
You get a token. You will notice markings above each of the doorways. You noticed it on the way in. You notice it in the doorway that goes to the back part where the kitchen is. You notice it in the landing at the bottom of the stairs. And indeed, if you go up the stairs, you'll see the same markings above each door. They are arcane marks. They're not in any particular language that you can recognize. They look like symbols, magic symbols probably, but we don't know for sure. They do look very, very similar to the symbols that were associated with the sorceress on the fresco. Stylized moons and stars, that kind of thing.
I think I would turn to Bana possibly as he's lifting the rug and say, this place is marked by similar symbols to the mural.
Is that something we should be concerned about?
You saw the mural. Almost certainly.
So should I open this trapdoor or not, Cassian?
Carefully.
Magda, what are you doing right now?
I think I've gone to find a more secluded room, a bedroom or something like that, so I could just be by myself. And I would like to trade in 3 hunt tokens as I
Oh,
do that.
very good. Give me a moment. I don't have Loom pulled up. Well, there might be a treasure just in the thing. No, I'll just pull up them. Getting those tokens spent.
I have 4, and I don't like having just a whole bunch of tokens sitting there.
Sitting
It
around,
makes
yeah.
me stressed out.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here.
And I have 7 burdens, so I really need tokens. I really need gold.
Oh, interesting.
Jack just put in chat that Malkuth is a cautionary tale, and it's true.
It is true. Okay. You are going to find 3 different things, each worth 1 gold. A set of fortune tellers cards, each depicting one of the sisters in rare inks of vibrant hue. You are going to find a set of engraved golden seals with curious fractal patterns and traces of sweet-smelling beeswax. And you are going to find on the wall a tapestry of crimson and gold depicting a warrior offering 3 severed heads to robed figures on thrones. This is all in this little room that you're in. It looks like
Fancy
very
meal.
fancy stuff. It's not farmer stuff, right? This is like, yeah, different kind of person. What do you do?
Um, well,
Oh, I can't hear you, Magda. Somebody else say something?
Ooh,
Testing,
Hello?
Okay, well,
testing.
looks like Amanda's having a headset issue.
okay, we're good.
Oh, you're back.
Sorry.
Okay. So what are
So
you doing?
yes, I think since I'm taking the tapestry down, I'm gonna roll it up and put it with my hoard of stuff. I would like to take a look behind it because usually tapestries are covering up something interesting, right?
There's nothing on this one.
Oh,
Just a
boring.
wall. Yeah.
I think it was very dramatic too when I took it down to look behind and
Oh,
there was
there's
nothing.
nothing. Yeah.
Wah wah.
Womp womp. Malkuth, what are you doing right now?
Sweating, panicking, freaking out a little bit because he doesn't see the scarecrow anymore. But I think as he scrambles up to the roof, he's constantly doing that thing where he's looking behind him as he's packing the chimney to make a nest for the egg. Also making sure that there aren't any kind of like birds or anything like that that could up and snatch it. And I think when he conceals it enough in there, he'll call down to the others fairly loudly, which of course might draw attention to other things. But he'll say, "Hey, guys, don't want to scare you. We might have a scarecrow issue. No worries, right?"
pardon?
He'll start to he'll use his like chain to sort of rappel down back onto the first floor, off the roof, and then go through the front door, and he'll go, sorry. So there's a scarecrow out there, and it's not there anymore.
Cassian, if you look out the window, there is a scarecrow hanging on the pole in the cornfield.
He'll look at it for a beat too long before turning back to Malkuth, and that scarecrow.
He'll whip his head around. Does he see the scarecrow, or
You do.
um you know what, maybe I just need some sleep. It's been a long day. Yeah, yeah, he'll just sort of like wander off into the parlor and just try to find a place, like a corner of the room, to just sort of like sit down and chill.
So we lost Rob for a minute. Rob had to attend to something at work, but so I'm going to say that Rob is just, or that Benaj is busy getting the trapdoor open. We'll say it's locked and he's fiddling with that. Well, you have a day to kill in here, and we'll see what's down in the basement eventually, or whatever's below the house. Anything else anybody wants to do?
I think Cassian would like to go to the kitchen and see if there's anything that might help dress his wound.
You could just give the kitchen a toss in general and just do a hunt roll.
Sure. Yeah, nothing really helps there. Another 4.
Take your token. I will tell you that there's not much to be found in the kitchen. However, there is a set of copper pots and pans. What did we just lose? Amanda as well. Okay. There is a set of copper pots and pans, and they need to be beaten out back into shape. But if you were to do so, they would be worth 1 gold. So that's not nothing. If you don't mind lugging around a bunch of copper pots and pans. I owe you something terrible as well. You see from the back, looking out the window from the back of the house, one of those wretched crow creatures walking up the road, slithering up the road on its black tentacles, bobbing its head left and right, slithering forward at a leisurely pace. But what do you do?
I think yeah, he'll kind of collect the copper pots in a way that hopefully they won't make too much noise before readying them for his pack, before spotting the shape, and he'll kind of straighten up and just call out in a raised whisper to the others. One of those crow things approaches.
Malkuth will just kind of stand to attention, pull out his warhammer, and it doesn't look like it's coming for us, or is it just
Not yet.
should we
Okay.
smash it?
Perhaps we can try to avoid it.
Right.
Let's take 5 and give
Yeah.
Rob and Amanda a chance to come back, and then we'll pick up from there. Okay, we're back. So yeah, Cassian and or Malkuth brought to your attention one of these crow creatures is sort of sliming its way down the road. What's everyone doing?
Well, that's a question. I mean, Kazian, I think Malkuth had asked if you wanted. You had said that you wanted to avoid it, right?
I think that's the best option.
Yeah, I think he'll agree, but just keep a very careful eye on whether or not it's coming towards them, because it might also be an issue later.
Yeah.
How far away is it?
Like a quarter of a mile away. Not even that far, probably like, just
How
a
many
couple
meters
hundred
is
yards.
that?
Maybe like
Sorry,
100
I
meters
don't-
away.
Okay, thank you.
Pretty close.
Is it? I feel like it might be close enough if I have a pretty good arm to maybe roll a bunch of apples out there to distract it so it doesn't come closer.
See if it gets, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can do that. Are you going to watch it for a little bit, see what it does, or?
Well, yeah, because if it does something spooky or weird, or if it raises up and suddenly we see that it's made out of gold, I mean, that'll change what we want to do.
I think if you roll apples out to it, it'll get its attention.
Mm.
It will stop and consider the apples. I don't think it's the sort of thing that it eats. And it will kind of use its beak to kind of flick them down the road, and it's messing with them, and it hisses a couple of times at them when they roll away too quickly. It kind of loses its shit for a second and kind of starts hissing and cawing. It tries to walk through the cornfield that is sort of flanks the farmhouse, and it can't. It keeps testing the boundary of not just the cornfield, but just like of the farmhouse land in general. It's like it just can't. It slithers forward and pokes its beak forward, but it can't go any further. And it keeps trying to find purchase somewhere to get in, and it can't.
I think seeing this, Malkuth will just say to the others, I'll be right back. And he's going to step out the front of the house, since I think we established that it was closer to the back of the house, and try to give himself enough distance from the crow thing. But he does want to kind of test to see if he has a similar issue with the cornfield, and I think he'll pull his warhammer out, just kind of like try to poke at it, see if it goes through.
You can walk through it perfectly fine. But you could take a hunt roll too.
Yeah, I was about to ask. And
With
do
2
I see
dice. Yeah.
Do I see the scarecrow as well?
Well, do your hunt roll, we'll see.
We'll see.
2 3s.
Yeah.
When you go to test whether you can walk through the cornfield, I think you initially see the scarecrow hanging up, and then you kind of are fiddling with the corn. You look up again, and it's still there. And then you step in a little bit, and you're moving through the cornfield a little bit, and you look up, and it's suddenly not there again. And now you're in the middle of the cornfield.
No.
What do you do?
how deep am I in? I wonder. Actually, can we say that like I'm maybe like more deeper in than I thought, and I don't see the house
Sure.
from here.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think as a response, he'll keep his warhammer out, and he'll just sort of like start shoving it around him, like pushing the stalks of corn back, and just trying to make his way back the way he came. And I think because he has, paths as a skill, I don't foresee it being too much of an issue unless there's something magical going on. But I think he's just like very on guard. Maybe he also steals a couple stalks of corn just so we can, have something to eat later.
You can
But
you can get back to the house. It's fine.
Yeah. But I think
Yeah.
he's just really freaked out at this point. And he's like he's going backwards towards the house, just kind of like as if, just
Yeah.
wanting to make sure that nothing's following him.
I think by the time you get back to the house, Bana will have the trapdoor open. So the trapdoor's open. I'm not going to speak for what Bana's doing, but the rest of you can say what you're going to do.
So much for a nice restful morning. I'm gonna go and see what Banah's doing and look down the trap door.
There's a ladder that goes down.
If you see any statues, don't touch them, please.
I think I'm feeling a little spooked from my previous experience just earlier. I will not go down first this time. I will, however, can I see down there? Is there enough light to see what's down
Yeah,
there?
I mean, whatever light you have up top is enough to illuminate at least a little bit down there. At the bottom of the ladder, at least, who knows what's beyond the landing? But at the landing, you see a bunch of straw laid out on the ground.
Okay, so my first thought of throwing a torch down there is a bad idea.
Probably. So what do you do?
I want to get somebody else to go down first and tell me what's down there. Cassian,
Yes,
my
Magda.
friend. Well, I've had some bad experiences as of late with going
Oh.
down into places by myself. Would you like to show off your bravery and go down first?
I
Please?
would love to give you a hand with that, but I've only got one left.
I'll do it. Here, and he'll just hand over a bunch of like cobs of corn. I don't know what they're called. Just over to
Ears.
Magda. Ears of corn. Yeah, thank you. Ears of corn to Magda. And
Yeah, I have no idea what to do with corn. I
yeah.
just kind of look at it.
And he'll start to climb down.
Is the stalks of corn like, is it full cob, like ready to eat?
No, it's actually like to be ground down into meal. Yeah, not the eat off the cob type of corn. Sorry, Malkuth.
Okay.
They don't have corn in the mines, so you can be forgiven. Yeah. Down in this cellar has been converted into some kind of workshop. There is straw all over the place, and there's stacks of burlap piled up in one corner. And you see a long table at the end of the cellar, atop which is a partially constructed scarecrow.
His eyes go wide, seeing that. Call me nutty. I think this might be some kind of scarecrow factory. And I will do a hunt just to see if I can confirm that.
How do you look around? What do you do?
I mean, I think he's used to being in the dark spaces of the mines. I think he's just sort of looking around, seeing if there's anything underneath the straw, anything on, anything like that.
Yeah, make a hunt roll.
Finally, 5.
Take your token. Everything is as I described it. But underneath the half-constructed scarecrow is a journal with extensive notes for not only how to construct physically a scarecrow, but how to bring it to life. The journal belongs to someone who has identified themselves as Beatrice Mandrake, sorceress, or no, Beatrice Mandrake. She has a title. Hold on, I've already forgotten. Beatrice Mandrake, showwoman and diabolist.
It's a great title.
It's a great title, yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll pocket it for reading up top, but I think seeing like that there's this tome dedicated to being able to animate these scarecrows. I think that he's just going to tear off the arms of it just to make sure that if it does come alive, it can't grab them. And not finding anything else, I think he'll just start to climb back up. Again, don't want to alarm anybody. There's a book about scarecrow animation here. Maybe I'm not crazy. And he looks at Cassian when he says that. It's by I don't know, it's by this showwoman diabolist, Beatrix Mandrake. I don't know those titles. I'm not really familiar with what either of those mean, but it sounds like they could maybe be some kind of mystic, like the one that we, the one we found at the, and he's trying to like not say it to not upset Magda, but.
Do I know any songs about Beatrice Mandrake?
No.
It's probably not important.
Well, no, maybe you do. Well, make a hunt roll. You're asking a question, so make a hunt roll.
I don't really think I have any skills that apply here. Get a token, but encounter something terrible with my 5.
You do know songs about Beatrice Mandrake. They are at least 100 years old, maybe more.
I start to sing them.
What's the nature of her story?
She was a beautiful woman, and nobody respected her because they just saw her beauty and not her talent. And I think that drove her to darker magics in order to prove herself over and over and over to get revenge on those that disrespected her. And it's just mostly, each song is sort of like a different case of revenge, different case of trying a new spell and just getting darker and darker as things go. Which is pretty cool.
There you have it. Well, you have this journal. You know what was going on down in the basement. You think there might be a scarecrow on the loose somewhere on the land. What are you all gonna do now?
Can I actually, I don't know if I can do this, but would I be able to spend the hunt token to? Oh wait, it's three hunt tokens to clear Zekel, right? Or
yeah,
okay,
you're pretty close to having this one solved though.
Okay,
because you have the instructions. You just have to do it.
Yeah, I think then he'll thumb through the journal while Magda's singing, and he'll just try to see if he can find anything about particular rituals, this particular scarecrow dance ritual that he's been hearing about.
I think because you have rituals as a skill, I will let you learn the scarecrow ritual, which you can add to your rituals list.
And that would increase my burdens, right?
It will not, actually.
Oh, work.
And what it does is, let me find it here. Create a construct of straw and burlap that will endlessly hunt a named target.
He'll take it, but he's now concerned that someone knows his name and that he is being targeted by this person. And
there is a somewhat unfortunate detail in the process. The scarecrows have to be animated using the heart of a child, which you whisper the name of the target to, and then sew it up inside the chest.
On second thought, I think it's a little ghastly for him. I think well, that's interesting. And no, he's not going to learn it. I think he's going to keep it for, for the book, but it's not for him. But if anyone else wants to learn a horrible ritual, go for it. Agda?
It's so tempting.
Well,
Does the heart have to be a living heart? Could it be like a
mm,
really old heart that's been buried for a while?
she's not clear on that.
No, it wouldn't make good songs or stories. Magda, the child heart stealer? No. No.
Tucking
Cassian
in.
would
Oh,
just
God.
take the book, just kind of, and start studying.
Yeah. I mean, you can know the ritual, you can learn the process without having to do it, I suppose. Then if you ever decide you want to, you know how. So
Also, there's this creepy little child following Malkuth around. This could be handy.
Could be.
well, according to Malkuth, right?
Yeah. I do feel
Uh,
though that once Malkuth sees Cassian taking an interest in this, given that they're roommates right now, he's feeling a little bit on edge about him.
So you're spending the rest of the day and night here in the farmhouse. There's at least one crow creature out there that can't enter the land. There might be a scarecrow roaming around. You have not seen it again, Malkuth. Nobody has. It's not back on its pole. Everyone, please roll a dark die.
Four.
If you rolled lower than your current ruin, you take a new condition called the birthing dream.
Ooh.
Who did?
I did. I rolled a 3, and my ruin is 4.
Right.
No, I rolled a 5. My rune's 5.
So the only person who's doing the birthing dream then is Malkuth. Malkuth, you are going to sleep and you are going to dream. Your dream, in it, you are laying on a bed of sunflowers, your belly fat with child, surrounded by beaming loved ones and onlookers. What do you fear the most, just in general?
As crude as this may be, I think he fears how it's going to get out of him.
Let's back up. What do you fear? What does Malkuth fear, just as a general matter in life?
Oh, in life. He's pretty superstitious. I think that I think his biggest fear though is losing control and losing that sense of purpose that the chain gave him. And reverting back to that sort of feral, reckless boy he used to be.
Very good. Now, the rest of us, and I'll let Rob off the hook since Rob just got back, but the rest of us, we each get to describe a detail about the dream that Malkuth is having that shows Malkuth giving birth to this fear. Who wants to start?
I'll start. Malkuth looks down at his swollen stomach, and as he watches, he sees hands start to press up. Little hands and fingers trying to stretch their way out of his being, out of his body. And you just know, that it's Ebert, naughty Ebert.
Malkuth, remind us what your fear was again.
It's a fear of being reckless and angry and immature.
Immature. Oh, that's a good word. I'll take the next part. Oh, I was going to take the next part of the dream.
Go ahead.
The midwife says, I can see it. It's coming. Push. Push. And she reaches between your legs and she pulls out the teddy bear. She cradles it and holds it. But it's not over. Cassian.
As you watch this midwife cradle what you've just birthed, the the sunflowers around you seem to grow taller, and the ground that you're lying on spreads out wider as you shrink and start to fall into the ground itself.
Bana, just to catch you up, Rob. Everyone is sleeping. Down in the cellar, there was a workshop for making scarecrows. And you all now have the instructions for a scarecrow ritual if you wish to learn it. There is also a crow creature that is testing the boundaries of the farmhouse land and cannot cross it. It's something keeping it off. And then there is a scarecrow wandering around, not on its pole. But I need you to roll a dark die, please, Bana.
A 3.
What's your current ruin?
4.
You are also having the birthing dream. Bana, what are you scared of in life? What do you fear most?
I think I fear what any desperate treasure hunter fears: dying in a gutter in Fort Durin, unknown and unregarded, with no one to help me, no one to care.
In the dream, you are laying on a bed of sunflowers, your belly fat with child. This is a condition as well called the birthing dream that you have to note. But you're laying on this bed of sunflowers, fat with child. The rest of us get to describe how you give birth to this horror, this thing that you fear so much, dying in poverty and ignominy.
I think instead of like amniotic fluid, as your water breaks, it's gold coins that tumble to the ground and melt away into dust before you.
I think, speaking to that fear of being unrecognized, one of the midwives has 2 stacks of clay in her hands, and she just puts them on your face, begins to massage and erase your features with it until you're just sort of this smoothed over head.
The first thing the midwife pulls out of you is a handful of rotted teeth. The very teeth that you have that rot out of your face due to neglect and poverty.
And finally, the midwife is looking between your legs, Bana. And she says, "Go on then. We have no use for you here. You just get." "No, no, no, I can't spare a silver. Why don't you go out and earn a silver yourself? You've got legs that work. You've got hands that grasp. Well, all right. Come on then." And a filthy beggar crawls out from you, Bana. And they lift him up. And she's trying to clean him off. She says, "There, there. You had a good go of it, but sometimes things just don't work out. Sometimes you never know where you're going to end up. Isn't that right?" And then she looks at you. "Do you want to meet your baby?" And as the beggar turns around, before you can see his face, you wake up. Malkuth and Bana, you do not get the benefit of resting at the house because of your fitful dreams. Cassian and Magda are sleeping like rocks, though. The two of you are quite awake. Let's just have the scene with the two of you there.
Yeah, Malkuth is pretty abrupt when he wakes up from the dream. I think he'd been tucked himself into like a corner, just trying to stay alert, and obviously it didn't work. But he just kind of like bashes one arm into the wall. The wall kind of cracks behind him, and starts like feeling his stomach, looking around, making sure that there's no teddy bear around. And I guess, does he see Bana waking up? Or
Yeah, Bana's awake as well. Yeah.
okay. I think his eyes just sort of lock on. They meet with Banaz. And
Are you all in the bedrooms or down below, downstairs?
I would have gone upstairs, I think,
Okay.
just to be away from any intrusion.
I think then Bana, not Bana. I think Malkuth would have followed Bana. You know, they're kind of buddy buddy. But his eyes will meet his, and I think there's that sort of knowing glance between the two of them. Like they know that they went through something very similar, but how?
I think Bernard just kind of sits on the edge of the cot with his head in his hand and spits on the floor and just avoids Malkuth's eye. Very clear he doesn't want to speak about what he just went through.
Magda, I just want to figure out where everybody else is in time and space. Magda and Cassian, are you in the bedrooms as well, or did you sleep downstairs?
I would have went to the bedrooms. I'm betrothed. I shouldn't be sleeping in the same room as men.
So you're in a different room, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Cassian?
I think Cassian's in whatever kind of seating there is in the family room.
Okay. Malkuth and Bana, you hear from the hall outside the room, faint but definitely there. Bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, bum bum, bum bum. What do you do?
Is it like a heartbeat thrumming, or is it like
a heartbeat? Yeah. Bum,
yeah?
Bum bum, bum bum.
You hear that too, right? Bana?
Unfortunately, yes.
And yeah, when he confirms it, Malkuth will use his warhammer to get himself up off the ground, and he'll crack the door open, just sort of peeking out through.
It's a little louder now. Bum bum, bum bum, bum bum.
He'll open the door and kind of very carefully start to slide out, keeping his warhammer on him.
Make a
I
hunt
think
roll.
Bernard will follow with his saber.
Oh, that's a 5.
Pick a token. The heartbeats are coming from Magda's room. Bum, 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 bum.
I'm gonna put my ear to the door first to make sure I'd like just to kind of confirm that I'm hearing it from her room.
You are.
And then when I do, I'll just very gently knock on the door. Magda?
Magda does not wake up.
I'm coming in, and he'll very carefully open the door.
You see the scarecrow standing over Magda, who is asleep. Its face is a pair of big black buttons and a kind of jagged red stitch mouth, old work shirt and pants and boots stuffed with straw. It's standing over Magda. It's looming over Magda, and it's moving left and right over her body as if assaying her. The heartbeats are very loud now. How long do you watch it?
I don't think he watches it very long. I think he's been freaked out the entire day by scarecrows. So I think at first sight of this thing looming over her, he's just gonna throw his warhammer at it.
The warhammer hits its straw body and falls to the ground ineffectually. It turns at you, looks at you with its button eye, and then just goes back to Magda. What do you do?
Unless Bana has something he wants to do, I'm just gonna start kicking Magda's boots, trying to wake her up.
While you're doing that, Bernard will be just like, desperately slashing at this thing with his saber to see if
Are you going to slash at it?
Yeah.
You cut a bit of the burlap and some of the straw falls out. This scarecrow, its facial expression is set, but it cocks its head like a dog, as if to consider why you might have done such a thing. It reaches down and grabs the straw and puts it back into its chest. And then continues looking at Magda.
Does Magda wake up when I'm kicking her? Or?
Magda, you do wake up. You see the scarecrow face to face with you. What do you do?
I think I initially just sort of scoot back out of the way, or trying to get out of the way. I don't know how much room I've got to scoot, but I think that would be the first reaction.
You scoot back against the wall. The scarecrow stands up and walks back to the window, seemingly satisfied, and awkwardly hoists itself out the window and just flops down to the ground, falls 2 stories down to the ground, and then crawls into the cornfield.
Malkuth, did you do the spell?
No, I don't have any baby hearts.
How did it get in here?
I don't know. We woke up, and he'll gesture over to Bana. There was we heard a heartbeat.
Heartbeat? Scarecrows don't have hearts.
Well, technically they do if they're animated like that. That's how they're animated.
Yeah,
having
scarecrows
such a good
don't normally
sleep,
stand
too.
over people's beds either.
Cassian, you will wake up at this point from the commotion upstairs.
Will I see the scarecrow like crawling off, or is it gone?
I think you can maybe hear some rustling in the corn. And when you look out the window, you don't see the scarecrow, but you do see a shadowy figure that is taller than the corn stalks moving through the corn.
toward the house?
Unclear.
Yeah, he'll kind of take a couple steps back and rush up the stairs as quietly as possible and say, something comes, something big. Perhaps we should use that trapdoor. What's going on?
I was having a wonderful sleep, and then I don't know, a scarecrow got in.
Oh. And got out?
Yeah. Still unclear why it was here. It didn't hurt any of us, I don't think. And
Malkuth says that he didn't make this happen.
I didn't.
He didn't. I was with him the whole time.
If it was made by the process of the listed in the book, it would have a target. It mustn't be any of us.
Then why was it standing over Magda?
Perhaps it was trying to identify Magda.
I find it very far-fetched that even a scarecrow wouldn't have heard of me.
Yes, you're known far and wide, and now you're known by scarecrows. That might hurt you and all of us. What did you see it down there? Or?
No, something though in the field, tall, very tall.
Maybe a really big scarecrow.
Or maybe
Perhaps.
whatever sent the scarecrow.
The window shatters. One of the crow creature's heads, which has been ripped from its body, is thrown through the window and laying at your feet, the beak still opening and closing reflexively. Black blood spilling out on the floor.
I will just, in a panic, hack it to pieces just to make sure that whatever it is dead.
Just the head, and it hacks away just fine.
And then I think I kind of throw myself into cover by the window and then try and peek around and see if I can see what's out there.
Make a hunt roll.
Dexterity? I'm kind of, or stealth, maybe? No.
Oh, stealth maybe like to see without being seen. I'll take that.
Right, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
A 6.
Oh. Take your token. You see a hulking figure, at least 10 feet tall. Muscular, powerful. You can't make out the details, just the shape. Lopes out of the cornfield right up next to the house and drops the remainder of the crow creature down on the ground. What do you do?
I think I just kind of freeze in horror by the window and look toward the other three. Cassian's right. There's something enormous down there.
What kind of enormous thing down there?
I don't know. It's dark, man.
Does Malkuth have his pack nearby?
No, it'd probably be in the room.
I think Cassian would just leave and root through the pack until he finds the corn and take a big bite.
Of the corn?
Yep. I'm going to use my gardener ritual.
What does that do?
I can consume a plant to absorb some of its memories.
Oh, very good. Interesting. While you're doing that, the rest of you see this thing leap from the ground. Its body passes by the window as it leaps up to the roof. And you hear the conk as it lands on the roof.
I think Malkuth, my baby, my egg. I think hearing that, he's just going to try and rush up to the roof too.
Let's take 5. Cassian, I like this ritual idea a lot.
Cool.
Let's do a risk roll. What are you hoping to? You just generally trying to learn like what the creature is, or what it knows, or what the Okay. What do we think could go wrong here with this gardener ritual?
I think the magic has affected this place that even the plants lie, and it will feed him false information about what this creature is.
That's pretty good.
He's eating a corn, and the scarecrow's job is to guard the corn, right? So it's going to anger the scarecrow.
I don't think I have anything better
can't,
than that.
I can't compete. Those are so good.
Let's talk about dice. Do you have a skill that will help you out here? Or are you using a piece of equipment in your ritual that will help you?
The stolen plants?
Oh, plants, sure. Yeah. Okay. You've got 1 light die. And Devil's Bargains.
I think the corn will offer you its advice, but it will want something in return.
Don't
I like that. Yeah. Any other offers?
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll also throw in
If there's any.
I'll endanger the I'll do the Devil's Bargain of endangering the Scoundrel's Quarter.
I'll take the corn bargain.
Very good. You have to do dark die because of the ritual, so go ahead and roll 2 light, 1 dark.
Three.
Your highest was a 3?
Highest is a 3.
And when you have to stop too. Wow. Not great. The corn is going to speak to you. I'll tell you what it tells you in a minute. Malkuth, do you have some kind of athletics skill or a skill that would let you scamper up to the roof quickly?
Not technically, but I am a father in concern.
I don't think that's good enough.
It's fine.
By the time you get up to the roof, you see this hulking creature leaping off of the roof and going somewhere. You hear in the air a voice. Maybe it's just in your head. Maybe it's actually on the air. Who knows? But the voice says, "Immortal be spitten, bring me my prize." You do see your nest where you left it. The nest that you built in the chimney, but you can't quite see into it yet unless you get closer. Do you?
I do.
Inside the nest, where once was your starlight serpent egg, is now the teddy bear. What do you do?
He's at it. He's going to take this teddy bear by the throat, and he is going to rappel down the side of the house, and he's just going to kick the front door open. And I think this is sort of like a manifestation of his fears from the dream. He is kicking the door open, and if I can, I'll put some kind of like match or like kindling or something like that into my backpack. But I think he said he's just gonna tear the head off if he can, throw it into the fireplace, and then set it alight.
While you're doing that, Cassian, the corn tells you your answer. It has seen this creature before. Its lair is atop the mill. They don't call it the mill. They call it the transformation place, but it's the same idea. Its lair is atop the mill. That's where it returns to.
Cassian will kind of take a sharp inhalation of breath and wipe the corn silk out from his eyes as he looks around and kind of gets a sense for what he's missed, and rush back to the room and say, something to do with the mill. It nests at the mill, whatever it is. Where's Malkuth?
Malkuth's losing it on the teddy bear right now.
He jumped out the window and climbed onto the roof.
The snake. The egg.
Of course.
Do
Well,
you smell
now-
that? It smells like burning cloth. I think I'm just
Cassian
gonna
will
run downstairs.
start downstairs too, yeah.
An offer. Everyone's sleep has been disturbed tonight. You are not going to get the benefit of the ruin decrease unless you choose right now to go back to sleep. Sleep it off. Wake up with a clearer head in the morning. Then pursue this creature to the mill or wherever it may be. I don't know how pressed for time you feel at the moment, but I have some sneaking suspicions that this is a tough decision for some of you. Nevertheless, you need to make it.
it's not so much being pressed for time, but how can anyone sleep with this going on?
At the same time, we've had a really long day. We can't go off ready to fight something that big without some sort of rest.
I'm sorry, who said anything about going to fight it at all?
Malkuth, do you not want to fight that thing?
I want to rip that fucking thing's head off.
There we go.
Sleep or not, we should wait till the morning.
But by morning, it could crack it open. It could use the yolk for something. I heard a voice up there. It was a woman's. I think it's this Beatrix, this Diabolist.
If they're going to use the egg for a ritual, an omelet, it would be done already before we could reach the mill.
Put the damn thing in the basement, Malkuth.
It needs starlight, okay?
Well, we could try the scarecrow ritual. We would just need to find ingredients.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen any children around here, Magda. Sorry.
Well, you're the one who says that there's a little kid after you.
Well, that's different.
Oh, that one's a ghost.
Yes, it
To be
is.
clear, Beatrice's notes could be interpreted as a child's heart, meaning a human child, or the heart of anything that is a child.
Am I being very literal, or is there no difference there?
Well, maybe a young animal, but
Like
Such
a
as a cat.
little baby snake in an
a
egg.
cat. Kitten.
you mean a yolk?
Technically, yeah.
We did see some young cats outside.
No, we're.
Oh,
If you all don't want to come with me, that's fine. I understand.
You can't go alone, Malkuth.
Well, fine then. Do you want to come with me?
Not even a little.
Well, great. So I guess I'm going alone.
Can I send Bazo with him? Or do I have to be awake for that? Can I take a
Who's-
little nap?
Who's Bazo?
Bazo is my great steed, my ritual steed. Great
Oh,
Bazo
that's
of the
right.
Golden
Yeah.
Mane.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, so that Malkuth can move quicker.
Yeah.
I think that's okay if you want to do that. Yeah, I like that.
And maybe Bazo can help, I don't know, protect. I don't know what Bazo does.
Perhaps merely knowing the ritual will allow me to redirect the scarecrow that already exists. It already has a heart, presumably.
Because I read the manual and I have rituals as a skill, would I know if it can be like reprogrammed?
Maybe. I think I would let that be the justification for a roll, if nothing else.
Okay.
Have you named the egg?
No, it's not born yet.
The ritual specifies it hunts a named target.
Oh. I haven't really thought of it. Malkuth Jr. Malkuth the second.
Can we explain to this scarecrow that we don't want little MJ to suffer when the scarecrow finds it?
I'll tell you one thing, this night is not getting any longer.
Listen, I appreciate you all. I really do. I just feel like I have to do this. If not just for me and the egg and its safety, whatever power is out here is going to that what he called it, or they called it, it's their prize. So clearly it's something valuable to them, whether it's for a ritual or I don't know. I can't let it fall into their hands.
Then we send the scarecrow after the show woman. It will lead the way.
Now, see,
you know what?
Cassian
You can
is
wake
thinking.
me up when you figure out what you want to do. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Know the name. Beatrix something or other.
Mandrake.
Beatrice
Yes.
Mandrake, yes.
So we find the scarecrow and perhaps we find the egg. That I will help you with, Malkuth.
I too.
I'm already asleep.
Cassian will be moving toward the door to see if they can find the scarecrow.
Yeah, Malkuth will follow.
Bana? What are you doing, Bana?
Is the cat still around?
I mean, it's probably under the house.
I'm going to go look for it. And its kittens. We may need one.
To take its heart?
Yeah.
To construct a scarecrow down from the materials in the basement?
Exactly. To send after, well, either Beatrix Mandrake or after this creature if we can figure out its name.
Do the hunt roll, Bana.
Out of character, did the drifter give you his name, Magda?
He did not.
He did not.
He very pointedly did not tell.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
got
tried
his
to get
name.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. That's what I thought.
I'm going to make an argument for stealth against and some kind of.
You can take
trying
it,
to
yeah.
Sneak up on a cat.
Absolutely.
That's a 4.
Take your token. The little space underneath the house where the cat was, when you crawl down there, Bana, you look down in the hole, in the darkness, you do see a couple of eyes, yellow eyes reflecting back at you. What do you do? There's a shift, and the eyes get a little closer.
Sort of make a soft purring noise.
It's a very strange sounding cat.
I think as I hear that, I'll just sort of recoil in horror and start shuffling back as fast as I can away from it.
It's crawling toward you. It's one of the ghoul creatures that you fought earlier. You see its teeth slavering, its eyes glowing yellow as it crawls out of the hole at you. What do you do?
A combination of desperately trying to back away and find my saber to
Indeed.
just brandish in front of me.
Cassian and Malkuth, what are you doing in the meantime?
Keeping his temper in check as Cassian does something.
Trying to find where the scarecrow got to.
Make a hunt roll.
Can I make one too, or can I help him? Or
You can both, like, if you're searching different parts of the cornfield, I suppose.
can I take another dice for my path skill?
Sure, yeah,
And I have tracking
sure.
That's 5.
and 6.
Oh. You both discover trails of smashed down corn stalks. You also both discover 2 sets of footprints. One set of footprints looks like a pair of bare feet. The other is boots.
And they look like they're going the same direction?
No,
Having not seen the scarecrow, did the scarecrow have boots?
I don't remember.
It certainly didn't have bare feet, so
Yeah.
I feel like boots the better bet.
Probably didn't even have legs, right?
Oh, it had legs.
Rudimentary ones.
Yeah, it had like legs.
The one in the
yeah.
cellar was half done, but yeah.
Follow the boots.
Yeah.
You know you're on the right track because as you're following the boots, you start to hear bump, 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 bump. Bana, this is a combat. The creature is an 8. Please describe how you are vulnerable and roll weak point.
I'm vulnerable because I'm underneath the house and can't maneuver very well. And
Yeah.
I was expecting to be facing a kitten, not one of these things.
Roll weak point.
5.
Not great. Go ahead and roll combat 1. You need an 8.
2.
Give me the first part of the combat. What does it look like?
I think, yeah. When I was just desperately trying to get hold of his saber that was tucked through his belt and, trying to draw it in this space this crawl space under the house. And as this thing is getting closer and closer to him, he just manages to desperately rip it free and poke it forward enough to ward the thing off for a moment.
It rears back, coiling up tension in its legs in an attempt to leap at you. Go ahead and roll the second combat round. 2 dice.
7, and I hit my weak point.
You do not kill it, and it does hit your weak point. Go ahead and give me the next round of the combat.
Just deciding if I want to mark armor or not. I think I better. Yeah, I think it leaps toward me and just I try to position the saber so that it would impale itself, but it's too fast and I can't maneuver quickly enough, and it gets past my guard and starts clawing at me. The only thing protecting me is my armored shirt.
Cassian and Malkuth. Bum 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 bum. You get to a little clearing in the corn. And you see the scarecrow just standing there, kind of slumped at the shoulder and head, looking at you with its dead button eyes. What do you do?
Cassian will stop and kind of hold out a hand and say, we mean you no harm.
It makes no response.
I thought it was worth a shot.
Yeah.
Can I repeat the scarecrow ritual, or the later half of it?
Oh, to try to like get control of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a risk roll. What could go wrong here, Amanda?
I think. I guess the obvious thing is to send the target after yourself by accident, or set the target as yourself by accident would be pretty bad.
I like that. Do you have a skill that will help you?
I don't, but I did just learn it. It's really fresh.
No. It's not good enough. That's an argument for not getting a die. I'll give you a devil's bargain though, which is to put the scoundrel's quarter in danger.
I'll do it.
You have one light die, and I think a dark die is automatic here.
3.
Jesus Christ, the die roller is so cruel today. Yeah, the ritual's going very poorly. You don't know that though, because you can feel the words flowing out. They have power. The part though, where you thought that you were supposed to be stating your name in a manner of command is actually, you get that a little wrong. And what you're really doing is having your name and yourself imprint upon the thing as you are doing the ritual. Before we forget, go ahead and roll a ruin for Scoundrel's Quarter, see if that goes up.
3.
Okay, so it does go up to 2. And when you're done, when you close the book, the thing shifts its position slightly. It takes a step forward, a staggering, loping step. It takes another step forward, and then another. And then it extends its hands. And wraps them around your throat. And then it has incredible strength you did not imagine from a thing with straw arms. It is trying to choke you out. What do you do?
Frantically flick my eyes over to Malkuth.
Yeah, I will, if I can, try to get behind it and tear its heart out.
This is a combat. Let's see. The thing is let's see what its endurance is, because I don't remember. It's only a 7, so that's not too bad. Both, please describe how you're vulnerable and roll weak point.
This thing has no real sense of joints or bones, so when it feels me approaching from behind, I think part of it will just sort of reach back and choke me out as well.
I only have one hand.
Yeah. It is a problem right now. Please roll combat 2. Looking for 7.
9.
Okay, that's good. And no weak point either. Go ahead and describe how you destroy this thing. Malkuth, you can kind of take the honors.
Yeah, seeing him being choked out, I think he'll just quickly spring to action. He'll, with his bare hand, reach through the back of this straw man's torso and try to feel around for the heart. And he'll sort of like push forward so that Cassian could get like a grip on it.
Go ahead, Cassian.
Cassian will try and wrench himself free of the grip, and then seeing what Malkuth is doing, redirect his hand and just reach in and tug.
And the thing falls at your feet in a pile of burlap and straw. There's a small little heart still beating in your palm.
Cassian will kind of rub his throat and say, thank you. We have a heart.
Yeah, let's I mean, if you want to try making one yourself, go for it.
Perhaps from scratch is the way to go.
Yeah.
Bana, it's combat 3, I believe.
It is.
Looking for 8 on your highest 2 dice. Go ahead.
Oh no.
What'd you get?
I got a 10. I got a 10, but I hit my weak point twice and I have no armor left.
Oh, what's your current ruin right now, Bana?
4.
Oh, that is not great.
That is not great.
That is not great. Would you like the benefit of describing Bana's death, or would you like me to do it?
I'll allow you to do it.
Very well. You keep the thing at bay. It's a series of back and forths. You keep it at bay and it lunges, but then you jump back and keep it at bay and it lunges. And finally, you line it up so that it lunges and pierces itself on your sword. Indeed, it's sliding forward on your sword toward you, blood spurting out of the wound. And then it just hangs there limp, with you standing there, holding the thing steady. And just as you relax a little bit, it springs to life just enough to get its teeth around your throat. And Bana collapses down in a bloody pool. Magda, you hear some commotion outside.
How rested do I feel?
Pretty rested.
I think I kind of stretch a bit and go see what the noise is.
You see Bana and the Merc Freak, or whatever we're calling them, in a ghoulish lover's embrace on the ground in a pool of blood.
I kick the body of the Merc Freak away and drag Bana out of the crawl space, like out of the area, into like a nicer part of where the house is, and see if there's anything I can do to first aid him.
I think we're a little bit beyond first aid at this point. Malkuth and Cassian, you can come back from the cornfield to see this scene as well.
Malkuth wouldn't notice it at first. I think he's sort of preoccupied with what just happened between he and Cassian and the Scarecrow. But I think as soon as he sees Magda out of the house, awake, and sees Bana in her arms, he'll kind of like start to speed up his pace. What's wrong? And then when he gets closer, he sees in the low light Bana's throat, and he'll just immediately like go to him and like try to like compress it, see if it'll work. But I think that he knows, seeing that sort of glazed over look in Banah's eyes. What happened to him?
I just gesture vaguely towards the Merc Freak that's sort of visible from where we are.
You didn't hear him?
I was asleep.
You let him go down there alone?
I didn't know he was going to go down there. I was asleep.
And I think as you're saying that, Malkuth he sort of pulls Banah into his lap, and like I think he's very emotional right now. He's very tearful, not just from this, but I think it's the collect. Like this is the culmination of this entirely fucked up day. And yeah, I think he's pretty tearful right now with Banah on his lap, and he's just like looking at him in disbelief.
I think Cassian is just standing, staring, and already thinking about that flower from the land of the dead.
You do have a way back to the land of the dead. What an interesting journey that might be, or could be, if you didn't have the horrible task of having to meet your burdens right now in order to do anything. Unless you want to go straight to Umbaret, as long as you don't return to Fort Durin, that's the rule.
What do we do?
Cassian will kind of crouch down and say, I think I have an idea.
How might, oh, there's a good little chat bit here. How might this, how might the Omen have told us this might happen?
I think because Bernard took his eye off the task at hand, right? He allowed himself to become distracted.
For a cat-related diversion, no less.
Mm-hmm. He thought he was cleverer than Malkuth and Cassian's plan and had a simpler way to solve this. Should have stuck with them.
Well, let us take a 5-minute break while we ruminate on possibilities. Who knows what could happen? But we'll come back and figure it out. Okay, we are back. We have made provisions for Rob, which we'll get to in a bit. But for now, Magda, Cassian, and Malkuth, while you are, after you're done mourning Banah's passing, you are still treasure hunters, and you still have things you must get done. And part of what you must get done is acquire treasures in order to meet your burdens. And of course, you are welcome to plunder Banah's body as you wish. Who is taking what?
I'm going to take the blue priest robe so that if I go back to see my fiance, I have some sort of disguise in case I get in trouble.
I'll grab the ledgers and letters from River Rock Keep.
I will take the embroidery of Hester's Mill. And if it's okay, I think I'm going to give myself a condition.
Sure. You sad?
Yeah, I think it's going to be mourning for Banah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to actually take a condition as well. I think mine's going to be
Same.
guilty.
Yeah, because Magda was asleep.
Yeah. That's not very brave or heroic.
And I think Cassian would not let anyone take the dueling saber. That will be buried with him.
Buried with Banah. Yeah. Are you going to bury him here in the farmhouse? Or on the land?
I think we probably should, just because unless Cassian, you said you had an idea.
I mean, Cassian would relay the story of finding the land of the dead and having a plant.
Do we need his
could
whole
find our
body
way
for
back.
that?
I don't know the spirits. Perhaps if we could find some way to bottle the spirit and bring it back, which would lend naturally a bit of urgency to the task.
Who's gonna take care of the bestiary now?
Whoever's got needle and ink.
I guess I could. Well, I don't really have space for it though. And I'll
Now it will
gesture
get
to-
properly recorded. There's a chance at least.
I don't have much space on my skin, so but I'll be happy to apply to anyone else who wants it.
Perhaps the notebook is good enough, Malkuth. Carry on Banah's tradition.
Yeah.
Let us switch gears here for a bit. And let us speak to Tekla. Tekla. The last time we saw you, you were at the tomb of the ancient god king Argeol Seo. You found what your employer Iotho sent you to find. But you were intercepted by someone else. You've agreed to take a meeting in Fort Durin. You arrive where this meeting is supposed to be taking place. The entrance is in a little side alley, not in the Scoundrel's Quarter, another part of the city. There is a guard at the door, very pale of flesh, and just staring kind of blankly. A centipede crawls from his lower tear duct over his eyeball to his upper eyelid. This is the place. The door is opened for you. There are stairs leading down. What do you do?
Feel myself, and with a glance around, step down.
Indeed. Tekla, as you go downstairs, you step into a room, a little doorway. The floor changes from hard-packed earth to a slightly crunchy, glistening black floor. It has a little give. There is a woman sitting at a table. She's wearing a gown and gloves that covers her from neck to toe to fingertip. Black. And she's wearing a white mask over her face. She says, "Thank you so much for agreeing to meet me."
It is my pleasure.
"My name is Patience Davies. Please, have a seat." And she offers you a chair.
I am Tekla, as you know.
"Yes. The explorer who discovered the king Argeol Seo, the tomb of King Argeol Seo, an incredible achievement. I am something of a friendly rival of your employer, Tekla. I was wondering if I might be able to purchase your information from you and, indeed, hire you for services.
Oh. My employer is, not to put too fine a point on it, a dangerous man. I would not wish him to think I had betrayed his trust.
He is a dangerous man, yes, but I am a much more powerful woman.
Ah. So I find myself caught between a rock and a hard place.
No. My offer is that, an offer, not a compulsion.
What manner of work did you have in mind for me?
I need for you to reacquaint yourself with some people, the people who brought you here to Fort Durham.
Ah. What have they done to draw your attention?
It's not what they've done, it's what they're going to do. All roads, however, lead back to the Temple of the Peerless Star. You don't know what that is, do you?
I'm familiar with it.
Yes. Well, your job is to find this group and convince them to go on a grand journey. Do you
To
accept?
And what is my reward for this? You should know that riches do not interest me. Knowledge is what I seek. Riches may be useful in acquiring that knowledge, but
I have in my possession rare beetles that, when allowed to feast upon the corpse of a dead person, they consume the person's memories entirely. The beetles can then transfer their knowledge to anyone who, regrettably, consumes them. I have many beautiful lacquered red boxes containing beetles that have consumed some of the most fascinating and knowledgeable corpses on the continent. You will have your pick.
I think we see Tekla's eyes kind of glisten at this idea, although she's trying not to show how there's no way she's going to refuse. Very well. Your offer interests me.
And then we cut to see Tekla walking up the road to the farmhouse. And I think we'll just end the session there today.
Quick question before we end.
Yeah.
Would I be able to cash in my hunt tokens to get the set goal?
You accomplished the set goal already, which was to learn the
Oh.
Scarecrow ritual. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Also, one little note, the Scoundrel's Quarter went up to 3, not 2. I was mistaken earlier. We'll end the session there, though. Let's go to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
I really enjoyed Bernard's last hurrah there under the house. That was, you know, I always say I like to drive my characters like I stole them, and that was a fitting exit for him. I think a little earlier than I'd anticipated, but getting himself into something he couldn't get out of was always going to be the way he went out. You see what else? Big star for, I think, Malkuth's protectiveness over the egg. That's a really interesting thread that I'm sure is just going to continue to get us all into trouble. And yeah, and a star for the idea of bringing Tekla back into it. That's yeah, I was hoping to see more of her, so that's a good opportunity for me.
This was an intense session. There was a lot going on. It was really fun though. I mean, for Malkuth, obviously it was terrifying and horrible and very bad day, but it was fun to participate in and watch. Star and a wish for Magda. There's something about the selfishness that I really find almost endearing. But I'm also really excited to see how you play her after this night, because I think there's a lot of opportunity to explore some more facets of her now that she's sort of feeling guilty about not being there for the party. And I'm excited for Tekla to come, but I am going to miss Bana. But I really did love that scene of just like him being alone down there, and I do love the karma, the sort of karmic implications of what happened as a result of trying to find a kitten. And I really liked the clever usage of the gardener ritual. I really loved just like you just doing that with the corn and then developing this sort of like bargain with it now. And really that's also a wish, is to see where that goes, where that thread goes. And then Jason, you hurt my heart. It's taking my baby, my egg. But I think that was a really exciting choice. And now with Bana's death and Tekla, I think there's a lot of like different ways the next few sessions can go. And so I'm just really excited to see where we end up. Because I do assume we'll get back here, but I think like I don't know what I'm very excited to not know what's going on for the next few sessions, and that to me is exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of a star and a wish at the same time, I suppose. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with, if we don't stick out this whole thing at Hester's Mill and we leave and we come back. If that is a thing we do, how does that even work? I've never been in a trophy gold situation, any kind of trophy situation where we've done something like that. So I'm really excited to see how that'll work. My stars, Rob, the whole thing that you did with taking Bena and just really riding with his desire to finish what he started, which ended up, of course, getting him killed. And I also really liked the part where the crow thing got thrown into the building and Bena just like hacked it to pieces in a panic. I thought that was a really wonderful moment. Yeah, I mean, some of my stars have already been said. Ben, I always love when you use your gardener ritual. It's always really on point and surprising at the same time. So you make wonderful use of that. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see what happens when you have more, because that's the only ritual you have, I think. Let me see.
Scarecrow now.
Scarecrow now, yeah. I'm excited to see what you do with your other rituals. That's going to be a lot of fun. And also Jack with the egg, the fatherly protection towards the egg was really, really great and so on point. I really like how suddenly Malkuth gets this boost of bravery when it comes to his little egg son, daughter. I think everybody did a really wonderful job at the birthing dream. It was creepy as hell. I really loved it. I also really liked the juxtaposition of what happened with the tearing out of the heart of the scarecrow, sort of as a reflection of the stuff that happened in the birthing dream. I thought it was kind of it was really neat. It felt like a callback to me, even if it wasn't really on purpose. And of course, Jason, the tension in this was on point. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was on edge the whole time. Like my back hurts from being tense. So I'm I'm looking forward to what happens next.
Yeah, just this was a great session. I love that in previous incarnations of Hester's Mill that I've been part of, Beatrice Mandrake has always been dead, long dead, or just not relevant. And the fact that very strong hints that she's out there. I want to see more and where that leads, and obviously where the corn bargain gets to. But I also love this idea of Cassian has this idea now, and it's not going to let him go. He needs to make this right, and so that could be fun. So many stars to go around, Rob. Just your oh no when you realized the how the math added up was.
I know. I was like,
great.
oh, he died. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
I just got killed. Oh no. Yeah.
And on the previous round, I was like, I shouldn't mark armor because I always try and save armor for like if you get multiple hits on the weak point. And I was like, but that
It was just a tactical mistake.
So I'm gonna mark armor on the previous one, and then I like roll double 5. Jeez.
Yeah. And it was a really good moment. And I am excited to see what Tekla brings to the group other than more madness and obsession. This was excellent. Just great all around.
Yeah, star for me. I had a really great time. I love the farmhouse. It's my favorite part of the incursion, and I like it because the farmhouse is like it's sort of like, it's fun because it's sort of like emphasizes and it highlights the sort of horror of the scenario. The scenario has, the incursion has like folk horror vibes anyway, and then you kind of put it like in a literal farmhouse and it just becomes this like it kind of has the potential to be this like sort of weird, surreal, dreamy horror. Then you have the folk horror elements. Then you have like this almost like a slasher horror like vibe with the scarecrow stalking you and like all that stuff. It came through really nicely. It was really fun and really good. I loved tying the one-eyed cat omen to what happened to Bana. I thought that was really, really great. I knew that putting the egg on the roof was like such a bad idea. Like I was like, this is just such a bad idea. But he's going for it. That's what he's doing. And so like it did turn out to be a bad idea, but it is a thing that's going to drive the story. And so I think it's really interesting in that way. Yeah. And I am also, as a wish and a star kind of combined, I am interested to see how Magda like is affected by Bana's death because of her role in it, or lack of role. But yeah, just overall really, really good. And I liked a lot of what was happening. And I'm curious to see what Tekla brings to it. So yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Any other stars or wishes? All right then. Well, we will go ahead and wave goodbye to folks watching the video. Bye.